It is 110 million% possible to sell something online to someone that you've never met in real life. And I'll tell you what, it never gets old seeing all of those little Stripe notifications and PayPal notifications and payment notifications coming in telling you that you've made a sale. Because that means that you have connected with your ideal audience and they want what you are offering. Isn't that amazing? And if you've done this before, I bet you'd agree that it really does never get old. But before you can figure that out and before you can make those sales, there are 3 things that you have got to do to make sure that you can connect correctly with your ideal audience. And those 3 things are what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, I'm Jen Frost. I'm a success strategist, and I have started multiple successful businesses, both here in St. Pete, Florida, and also online. And I love to help people start and grow their businesses, especially using organic marketing. So what I'm going to teach you today is something that is so important. It's foundational. It's something that is important whether you're doing a brick and mortar, whether you're trying to sell online. And if you're getting ready to get started, you've got to do these 3 things first. Okay, so what are those 3 things? When you're first trying to get clear on who your audience is, that is the number 1 thing you have to do. You've got to know who you are talking to. And I'm going to sum up these first 3 and then I'll get into each one. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to know who you're talking to. The second thing you have to know is where they hang out. Right? And I hear this a lot too. It's like, Jen, I know who my people are, but I don't know where they are. So we're going to talk about that today. And then thirdly, you have to know what to say to them. Because if you know where they are and you know who they are, but you don't have the right message that doesn't resonate with them, then you're still not going to be able to make sales. So we're going to cover all 3 of those here. So before we get started, make sure that you subscribe to this video so that you can get more of these amazing tips and start making those sales online, which is what I know you want, because otherwise, why would you be here, right? So, okay, let's get started. So number 1, who are you talking to? This is, you hear people talk about niching down and making sure that you have your right audience and all that. And I really do subscribe to this mentality, because if you don't know who you're talking to, what ends up happening is you end up talking to everyone and you're not actually going to have a message that will resonate with the people that will come to you. So think about it this way. If you were trying to sell a health program to somebody, a weight loss program, you're not going to speak to someone who is already fit and already, in the mindset of losing weight the same way you're going to speak to someone that's sitting on the couch. They're in 2 very different places in their lives. And if you don't know where your ideal client is in their life and you can't meet them there, then it's going to be very hard for people to resonate with you. Now, people say all the time, Jen, but I can help everyone with what I do. My product is amazing. It'll help everyone. And that is great. And I love that for you. And I love that for your product. And if you really want to help people, then you've got to be able to speak to them in a way that they're going to think that it will help them. So first, my recommendation is pick one audience that you are going to help and focus on them for the next 90 days. Learn everything you can about them. Learn what makes them tick. Like what are those pain points? What does their dream life look like? What does it look like when they don't have what they want? Because then you'll be able to speak to them from getting from here all the way to here. So that's what I first want you to work on. Who are they, right? And then also, when you're thinking about this, it can be hard to decide where you're going to narrow it down. So if you know that, okay, there's 3 different types of people that can benefit or that you think you might want to target, I still want you to pick one. But this is a good way to narrow that down. And that is, think of those 3 different people. Write it up. Make a list of what they like, what their dream life looks like, what are their pain points, what are their pleasures, what does a day in their life look like? And what objections would they have to working with you? Know everything about them. And then look at those 3 people and ask yourself, who do you want to spend time with? Who would you most enjoy helping? And I know you can help all of them. We've gone through that already. But who would you most enjoy helping? Because here's the deal. This is your business. You're going to spend a lot of time on this. And if you're not enjoying yourself and you're not having fun, really getting in with your clients and really enjoying connecting with them, then this is not going to work, because you're going to be pushing a giant boulder up a giant hill the whole time, and you're not going to have the success that you really deserve. So pick someone that you enjoy working with. Another really good way to look at it is who's paid you money before. So if you have ever made money from your services, think about this. And this actually was a big eye-opener for me when I first started thinking about it this way. When I first was online, I had an idea of who I thought my ideal client was. And I'm talking about back when I was doing life coaching. And I thought that my ideal client was a corporate woman who was overwhelmed and exhausted and, was looking for something different than their corporate job. Well, that's because that's who I was at the time. But when I went back, my coach asked me this question. He said, who's paid you to work with you? And I looked at who it was. And I'm like, you know what? It's not corporate women. It's a very different demographic. And that was really interesting to me. It was more service-based people that were doing a different kind of a job that wasn't in a regular 9-to-5. They had a sense of adventure about them, something that made them excited. And I was like, you know what? I love that too. I love getting excited, and that's why I like to work with people with a sense of adventure. And not to say that corporate women don't, but people that have chosen a profession that has a sense of adventure was where I was really able to help people. So think about that as you're coming up with this, and who do you want to work with, and then who has paid you. So once you know who you want to work with and you've thought that all out and you've really gotten clear on what their needs are and how you can help them and what their pain points are and where they want to get to, then you have to find them. And that's number 2. So number 1 is who are you going to work with. Number 2 is where are they hanging out. And this could be a lot of different places, right? If you are talking about something local, it could be local networking groups, but we're specifically talking about making money online, right? So one of my favorite places to do this is on Facebook and through Facebook groups. And Facebook groups are a great place to connect with like-minded people, and they already exist. I mean, you can make your own group if you like, but it's very time consuming. And why would you start there when you can start by connecting with people that are already out there? So just go into the search bar in Facebook and search for whatever it is and whomever it is that you want to connect with. Find some groups and connect with people there. Now, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to go into these groups and start spamming people and starting to make offers in these groups, because that's not the point. And the reason that groups work is because the people that create the groups want to have good interaction in the groups. They want people to be engaged. They want good conversation. And if you are someone that can help people get engaged, have good conversation, the group leaders are going to be super happy that you're there. And then you can continue to make connections with these ideal clients. And we've talked about this in other videos, so I'm not going to get into it today. That's when you can then connect with them, friend them, and then can grow your community over on your personal page. But really right now we're talking about finding them and where they are. So groups are a great place. Another great place would be fan pages. So if there are big names in the industry in which you want to get into, go to their pages, see who's commenting there and liking their comments there, and then get into that conversation as well. You're going to learn so much about your ideal client doing this too. You're going to see what questions they're asking, and when you have an answer, you can hop right in and answer it, and you're going to start to get to be better known in your field, and you're going to be able to start grow your sphere of influence, which is then going to help you make those sales. So a third place that you can look for these people is influencers in general. So if you like Instagram, for example, go find influencers in the field and start seeing who is commenting on their pages and start to connect with those people over there as well. So it can be groups, my favorite. It can be fan pages or business pages. It could be influencers on multiple different social media channels. So those are some places that you can find where they're hanging out. The third thing that you want to do is you want to know what the heck to say to these people. What are you going to say to them? Are you going to just show up and be like, hey, come buy my stuff? I mean, imagine if you were dating and someone came up to you and they were like, hey, let's get married. Like, you haven't even met them yet. This is not the time or the place to just jump right into bed, okay? This is the time and the place to start to have those connections. And the best way to have those connections is to speak to those dreams and those fears that we were talking about earlier. So when you're able to speak to them and you're able to help them visualize what their life is going to look like when they get out from where they are and get to where they want to get to, that's when they're going to resonate with you. That's when they're going to say, yes, I want that. I want that thing that you are talking about. I want to make sales online. I want to have $10,000 months. I want to eventually grow this into $1 million business. Whatever it is, and you don't need to speak to someone that you're not. You want to speak to your truth, right? And what value you can provide and help them see the potential of what is out there. Okay, so that is the third thing that you really, really want to do. One thing with that I want you to remember is that whenever you're speaking to people, what people want is they're either always moving towards pleasure or away from pain. Away from pain towards pleasure. So when you can speak to those two things, the pleasure and the pain, that's when you're going to have success in connecting with these people. And that is going to be the first three things you need to do to start making money online, is finding these people, knowing who they are, where they hang out, and what you're going to talk to them about to be able to connect with them. So let me know in the comments, does this make sense? If you are confused or have any questions, or you have a niche and you're like, Jen, I don't think this will work for me, drop it below. I'd love to hear, and I will be happy to give you any kind of advice that I possibly can. And also, if you've liked this, there is a link to a book called The Social Media Profits Formula below, which will take you even deeper into this process and give you all the before steps, all the after steps. So definitely check that out as well. All right. So that is it for this week. And if you've liked this, again, please subscribe. I super, super appreciate it. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody about it. And we'll catch up soon with some more amazing tips on how you can start making some money online, because you deserve it, because you have something valuable to share. All right, let's catch up soon. Bye.